It's funny how we spend so much time thinking about the graphics, gameplay, and storylines of a video game, but often overlook one of the most important elements: sound design. It's like obsessing over the toppings of a pizza while ignoring the crust. And we all know the crust is the best part.
They fucking circumcised my pizza.
Sound design in video games can make a boring scene into a thrilling one, or a dry scene into an emotional one. I think one of the first games to teach me good sound design was Zelda Wind Waker. Traversing the seas at face value in that game is a very boring procedure. You know, aim the wind correctly, sail in that direction, repeat. But when you're setting sail to the next island listening to this tune, it gives you a sense of adventure and purpose. And of course, sound design doesn't just go as far as music, it also goes into actions as well. If you've played The Wind Waker, you'll know that each time you land an attack with your sword, the music that's playing will subsequently react to the blade on the skin connection. It's extremely satisfying and is that extra hit of dopamine that we all seek to feel from games. Sound design is often a building block in games that I feel is neglected, generally. I mean, it's one of those things where it's not impossible to make a good game without good audio design. Companies like Telltale are around to prove just that, but it puts into perspective just how important it is for a game to thrive, especially from genre to genre. When it comes to horror, I will always say that what scares you 99% of the time is the sound. Go ahead, try and play a scary game while listening to 1 hour of the bruh sound effect, and I promise you, you will not flinch once.
Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
A great way to build atmosphere in a horror game is by teetering on the edge of silence, adding the correct creaks and wind howls to make it feel like something is behind you at all times. One of my favorite examples of this in action is in Resident Evil 7 and 8. It's clear that with these releases, their audio department was on 100, getting every sound just right. Of course, music in scary games can be just as effective as dead silence, with titles like Fears to Fathom having some of the best tension-building music that I've heard in the indie scene. What really fascinates me about the sound design in general is that the lengths the developers will go to make some quality immersion through sound itself. Squashing fruit to make the perfect gore sound effect, or breaking vases for the classic glass shattering effect, all done organically in studios, creating a unique layer of individuality for every game. A well-designed soundscape can transport players to a different world, making them feel like they're truly part of the game's environment. Skyrim sound design has always been a standout for me personally. The sound designers at Bethesda recorded real-world sounds for each object in the game, such as the different footsteps for each type of surface, the rustling of foliage, and the sound of dragon wings flapping. The game's musical score is also very noteworthy, as it features sweeping orchestral soundtracks that perfectly complement the game's epic scale and immersive world.
Incredible.
It's really a world you can get lost in, and the sound design played a crucial role in making that happen. I definitely hope to see the same level of effort put into Starfield. Sound design can also be used to create a unique brand identity for the game itself. Titles like Friday Night Funkin', Beat Saber, Geometry Dash, and so many others, piggyback on the concept of sound design to create a fun, repeatable game loop where players must synchronize their actions with a beat. Games like this can be so satisfying when you hit the beats correctly and just zone in, lock in. The music also adds to the overall experience and can be very enjoyable to listen to. Rhythm games are fun because they offer a unique gameplay experience centered around music and challenge, and require a medium level of skill for a high replay value. I think I mentioned in a previous video that Audio Surf has to be one of my favorite killing time games just because I like listening to music and I like playing games at the same time. It's just really fun. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the history behind sound design, as it's pretty intriguing. In the 1980s, game developers began to experiment with sound effects, which were used to involve the player's brains more in the experience.
Going into cardiac arrest.
It starts creating tension.
You saw it in a bunch of games, you're about to run out of time. So what do? They make the music play back faster.
That's one of the tricks. Change rhythm to change speed.
That sound increasing in frequency. He timed that to the human heartbeat. It's around 60 beats per minute, something like that.
Donkey Kong was one of the first titles to use a variety of sound effects to provide feedback to the player, featuring sounds for jumping, climbing, enemy movements, and all other sorts of things. It's truly served as an auditory foundation for games like Zelda, Frogger, Mario, and so many other games. It's really fascinating how far we've gone from the earlier days and how close to reality we are now. From Pole Position being one of the first racing games to use real-world car sounds, including engine noises, screeching tires, and then warping all the way to Grand Theft Auto 5 that includes hundreds, if not thousands, of different car sounds unique to every whip.
What'd you say? You can't have a pie without Cool Whip. Cool Whip? Cool Whip, yeah. You mean Cool Whip? Yeah, Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool.
Anyways, that's it for the history lesson. I just wanted to throw that interlude in. Let's get back to talking about sound design as a whole.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Another alluring aspect of sound design for me is spatial sound. When you think sound design, you think of sounds placed directly in front of the player to experience, but for certain competitive games, the concept of sound is taken to a whole nother level. Multiplayer games use spatial sound to help players locate enemies and important objectives, and it's crucial to succeeding in most cases. Back when I actually played Overwatch, before it took a turn for the worse, I turned all the music off and up the in-game sound just so I can hear footsteps easier, and my goodness did it level up my gameplay by tenfold. And there's way too many times when hearing gadgets or wood breaking in R6 saved my life. The accuracy of being able to hear something from upstairs or just in the room over has gotten to such a high point that hearing a sound in game can sometimes be mistaken for hearing something in the real world. I got you with that one. Be honest. Yup. Look at your face. Look at your face right now. You really thought somebody was at the door knocking. Ain't nobody knocking.
The one who knocks.
You gullible. Conclusion time. So sound design has definitely played a very valuable role in game development as a whole. From the early days of 8-bit sound effects to the latest innovations of spatial sound design has helped games become more than just visual experiences. Back in the day, I feel like so much was left to the imagination of the player, which was why they were marketed towards children so much back then. The cartridges for NES titles were so detailed because they wanted to incept the idea of what you were playing into your mind to aid the immersion. But now with graphics, voice acting, and spatial sound and all that nice stuff, it's all one big immersive pile that just is fun to experience for all ages. As technology continues to advance, it's exciting to see how sound design will continue to evolve and push the boundaries of what was possible in the world of gaming, especially with like VR floating around. I mean, Lord knows that's going to get out of hand and like just cool. Overall, sound design has to be one of the most vital elements of the growth and success of video games within the past, I don't know, 10, 20 years. And it's safe to say that games would not be the same without it at all. Anyways, I'm out of here. I've rambled on about sound design. How many times have I said the word sound design in this video? I don't know. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, go ahead and like the video. You know, why not? What's stopping you? It's just a click away. Subscribe if you want to subscribe, of course. And fade out time. Fade out time once again. What should we do for the fade out, guys? Y'all need to give me ideas for what to do for the fade out, because every time I get here, I'm just sitting here and I'm just saying things. I'm just rambling. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Golly, guys, help me out. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Do you hear me?
Who are you talking to right now?